In the heart of Africa, where the rivers sing to the rhythm of life and the vast savanna whispers ancient secrets, there lived a young man named Kwame. Kwame was known throughout the village of Niawali for his strength and kindness. He worked tirelessly in the fields, and his laugh was as hearty as the baobab tree's roots were deep. One day, as the sun painted the sky with hues of gold and orange, Kwame met a beautiful woman named Adisa at the village market. Her smile was like the first light of dawn, warm and enchanting. Her eyes, deep and mysterious, seemed to hold secrets of the world. It wasn't long before Kwame fell in love with her, and soon they were married in a celebration filled with drumming, dancing, and joy. Adisa moved into Kwame's humble home, a cozy hut with walls made of clay and a roof thatched with palm leaves. She proved to be a loving wife, cooking delicious meals and keeping the house in perfect order. The villagers often marveled at how Kwame's fortune had changed since Adisa became his wife. His crops flourished, his animals were healthy, and he always seemed to be at peace. But as time passed, strange things began to happen around the village. At night, shadows danced in the moonlight, and whispers floated on the breeze. People spoke of seeing strange lights in the forest and hearing eerie cries that sent shivers down their spines. Old women in the village shook their heads and murmured about old magic that had long been forgotten. Kwame, however, remained blissfully unaware. To him, life was perfect. Adisa's love seemed to make every day brighter, and he cherished every moment with her. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned a deep shade of indigo, Kwame decided to visit his friend Zuberi. Zuberi was a wise man, known for his knowledge of the ancient ways and his understanding of the unseen world. As they sat around the fire, Zuberi spoke of the strange occurrences. Kwame, he said, his voice low and serious, there are whispers in the village. They say dark things are stirring in the forest. Have you noticed anything unusual? Kwame laughed, shaking his head. Zuberi, my friend, you worry too much. Life is good, and Adisa brings me joy every day. Perhaps the old tales are just that, tales. Zuberi's eyes narrowed, and he leaned closer. Be careful, Kwame. Sometimes the things we love most can hide the deepest secrets. Kwame brushed off Zuberi's warning and returned home. That night, as he slept beside Adisa, he dreamed of dark forests and glowing eyes watching from the shadows. He woke in a cold sweat, but Adisa's comforting touch soon lulled him back to sleep. Days turned into weeks, and the strange happenings continued. One night, unable to sleep, Kwame decided to take a walk. The village was silent under the moon's pale glow. As he wandered toward the forest's edge, he saw a figure moving among the trees. Curiosity piqued, he followed. Deeper and deeper into the forest Kwame went, until he reached a clearing bathed in silver moonlight. There, to his shock, stood Adisa. She was surrounded by glowing orbs, her eyes closed, and her lips moving in a silent chant. The air around her crackled with an energy that made Kwame's hair stand on end. Kwame's heart pounded in his chest. Adisa, he called out, his voice trembling. Startled, Adisa turned. Her eyes, usually so warm, now blazed with an otherworldly light. For a moment, she seemed like a stranger. Kwame took a step back, his mind reeling. Kwame, she whispered, her voice softer, almost pleading. You weren't supposed to see this. Before Kwame could respond, the glowing orbs vanished, and the forest fell silent. Adisa approached him, her eyes returning to their familiar warmth. She reached out to touch his face, but Kwame pulled away. Who are you, Adisa? He demanded, his voice filled with confusion and fear. Adisa sighed, lowering her gaze. There are things you do not know about me, Kwame, things I never wanted you to see. But now, I must tell you the truth. Quame's breath was heavy, his mind swirling with thoughts he could not grasp. The truth? He repeated, trying to understand. Adisa nodded, her eyes filled with a sorrow that tugged at Quame's heart. I come from a long line of witches, Quame. My mother, my grandmother, all of them carried this power. It is a gift and a curse. When we met, I was running away from that life. I wanted to be free, to live a normal life with you. Quame stared at her, stunned. A witch? He whispered, his voice barely audible. The tales of witches were known in the village, but they were always stories of old. Could it be true? Adisa took his hands in hers, her touch gentle. I never wanted you to find out like this. I used my magic to help you, to protect our home and bring prosperity. But now, it seems my past has caught up with me. Quayne pulled his hands away, taking a step back. And the strange things happening in the village? The whispers, the lights. Was that you too? Adisa shook her head. Not all of it. I believe someone or something is trying to find me. The magic you saw tonight was a protection spell to keep us safe. Quayne's mind was racing. He looked at the woman he loved, now seeming so different yet still the same. Why didn't you tell me? He asked, his voice breaking. Tears filled Adisa's eyes. I was afraid you would leave me, afraid you would see me as a monster. I love you, Quayne. I didn't want to lose you. For a long moment, they stood in silence, the weight of the truth hanging heavy between them. Finally, Quayne spoke, his voice softer. What do we do now? Adisa wiped her tears and straightened. We must face this together. There are forces in this world that do not wish us well. If we are to survive, we must trust each other. Quayne nodded slowly, his mind still struggling to catch up. But deep down, he knew he could not abandon Adisa. Despite everything, his love for her remained strong. I will stand by you, he said, his voice steady. But we must be honest with each other. No more secrets. Adisa smiled, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. No more secrets, she agreed. With that, they began their journey back to the village. The night seemed less dark now, the forest less menacing. Quayne's heart was still heavy with questions, but he knew he would find the answers in time. As they emerged from the forest, the first light of dawn began to touch the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Quame and Adisa walked hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future held together.